stylet, which goes into the tube before the intubation, and then the tube is curved into a hockey stick, so-called hockey stick configuration. The purpose of this is to allow you to get the tube around the airway curvature and get it started through the larynx and started to go down the trachea. But you'll notice that after the tube passes over the airway curvature and starts down into the larynx, we want to go straight down the trachea, but the tube is still curved. And if I push on this tube, it will not go down the trachea. This has happened to me many times, and in order to get the tube to go down the trachea, I actually need to pull the stylet out of the tube. I'd like for you to see what happens when I try to extract the stylet from the tube in order to get the tube to slide down the straight trachea. As I pull the stylet out of the tube, there's a whiplash of the tip of the tube against the tracheal wall and against the underside of the vocal cords if the tube has already passed through those cords. So what this does is to traumatize the trachea and the vocal cords. It's a very traumatic procedure, and many times when I've intubated patients and I've performed this procedure, it actually pulls the tube out of the patient's airway and I have to start all over again from scratch. The Parker Flex It Stylet is designed to eliminate all of those problems, and here's how it works. We put this into the tube, slide it forward in the tube. You notice that it doesn't change the curvature of the tube at all to begin with. Then we can start the intubation holding the tube in the mid-shaft of the tube, and if we don't need to curve it, we don't curve it. But if we decide that we need a little bit of extra curvature on the tube, you notice that just by pressing the thumb button, I can cause the tip of the tube to flex a little bit or a lot if I need a lot of curvature. But once I get the tube curved and started down into the airway, I don't have to extract the stylet from the tube. I can just release the thumb pressure and the tube goes back to its normal curvature so that it can slide down the trachea, the straight trachea, and then when I go to remove the stylet, it comes out easily, and I want you to see what happens to the tip of the tube now when I pull the stylet out. Nothing happens to the tip. There's no whiplash against the tracheal wall, and also no trauma to the vocal cords, and there is no danger of accidentally pulling the tube out of the trachea.